Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Cliff Yates podcast. As always, you are in the right place. People don't get stuck because they make the wrong decisions. They get stuck because they don't make any decision. They're waiting. They're waiting till the time is right. They're waiting until they're ready. They're waiting until they have all the information. They wait till it's the perfect time. Perfection doesn't exist. There never will be the right time. They never will have all the information. It'll never be just right, so they get stuck because of their inability to make a decision at all. That's the truth, everybody. I learned this a long time ago, and as a police officer, believe me, I had to get in the habit. I had to be trained in making quick decisions before I had all the information that I needed. I had to make decisions based on training experience. Because if I didn't make quick decisions on the street as a patrol officer, it could cost me my life. Now, a lot of our decisions in our normal life, in business, they're not life-threatening, or at least physical life-threatening. And because of that, we tend to become complacent. We tend to become too casual. And casualness leads to life casualty. We need a sense of urgency, and we have to get in the habit of being a good decision maker. And becoming a decision maker of skill can be learned. You can get better and better at decision making. When I became a sergeant on the LA County Sheriff's Department, I became better and better at making decisions. Now, as a sergeant, I had the luxury of being able to take in more information. When a deputy sheriff had a question on what to do, I could take in information from here, from there, from my own experience, and then I could impart a decision to the deputy, or I could direct them in the direction they needed to go to find out the information they needed to make their own decision. And you get better and better at making those decisions. And then it gets to be fun. But a lot of times people get stuck because they don't make a decision because they're waiting. I was watching a Tony Robbins interview, and he recited a great story on decision making. And he talked about a general. First, he talked about a private who was assisting a general. And later I found out that this was the soon-to-be, or later-to-be, General Schwarzkopf, who we came to know through the media as General Schwarzkopf when he appeared on television. But before that, way before that, he was a private assisting other generals. And the story involves Schwarzkopf as a private assisting a general. And this general, in this scenario, there was going to be a time approaching, a deadline to make a decision. And the information for him to make that decision filled a room. And they got all that information pared down to about 6 binders. And before any of this information could be provided to the general, or he could peruse any of it, he got called away for an emergency. So as the date approached for the decision to be made, the private, in this case Schwarzkopf, he knew the general had no time to take in any of the information that he needed to make the decision. And in fact, they didn't have the time to give him all the information that they had so that he could make that decision. So he asked the general, should we cancel the meeting? And the general said, no, schedule the meeting. And the general got to the meeting. And he said, side number 1, 20 minutes, present your case. And then side 2, you got 20 minutes, state your case. And then at the end of that, he said, go with that. He made a decision. He made a decision. He was quick to make a decision. And then Schwarzkopf, he got a lot of anxiety. He's thinking the general had no way of knowing the information he needed to make that decision. Schwarzkopf became very stressed. The private was stressed. So he got up the courage to bang on that general's door. He knocked on the general's door. Permission to enter, sir. Sir, if I could, please, be blunt, open, and honest. Requesting permission for that, sir. And the general said, go ahead. And he said to the general, you couldn't possibly have reviewed all the material. We didn't even have a chance to get you all the material. You just made a decision that's going to determine the direction of the Pentagon. No one has made this or been able to make this decision in 10 years, and you just did it. And the general said, that's right. When you're put in command, take charge. Make a decision. And the private said, but general, you didn't have enough information. And the general said, there was too much information. Both sides of an argument for 10 years. But here's what I do know. Whatever decision I made, it'll be right or it'll be wrong. If it's wrong, we're going to find out quick. And then we can take the appropriate corrective change. If it's right, we're going to know quick that we're on the right track and we can move forward immediately. Make quick decisions. Decisions need to be made, and it's a skill that you can acquire. You can get better and better at making decisions. Now, Tony Robbins studied this, and he came to the conclusion that there are 3 parts to decisions. 3 parts to a decision. If we decide, we make a decision, and that's all we do, we made a decision in the moment, and in the moment, we mean what we decided. But if we do nothing else, later we're going to be in a different environment, in a different state, and therefore we can negotiate away our decisions in not following through. So Tony decided you make the decision in the moment, but you need to commit in some way, take some immediate action to show commitment, which is going to give you a force behind the decision so that in the future you will follow through. So he said, never leave the site of a decision without taking some action that's going to lead you in the future to follow through with that decision. You have to decide, then make a commitment so that in the future you realize the consequences of that decision or not following through and what that's going to mean. Do I have enough reasons? When you make a decision, the way to get to that commitment is to ask yourself, do I have enough reasons why? Not the how, right? I always talk about, we don't need the how. The how is going to come later. We need to know the big whys we're making a decision, why we're creating these goals and ambitions. Do I have enough reasons why? Is it really important to me? And you have to be honest with yourself in that moment, not to bullshit yourself. You are not there to lie to yourself. Do I have enough reasons? Is this really important to me? Because if it isn't, then you need to know in the moment. So you make a decision, and then we get to commitment. If I'm going to do this, here is my absolute commitment for the next 30 days. You decide, you commit. An absolute commitment for the next 30 days. And then you have to know what it costs if you don't follow through. If you don't do this, you got to know this is why I want this. You got to know why this is a strong, immense desire. Because it can't just be a moving away from decision. It can't just be, well, the negative consequences for not doing is this. There needs to be a pull. The pull is bigger than the push away or the pushing forward, the forceful forward towards a goal, ambition, or that decision you made. The pull has to be as strong or stronger than the moving away. If I don't do this, this happens. Well, how about if I do this? The benefits and what is going to be the amazing results that I'm going to get. It's going to have to be two sides of that coin. And Tony Robbins said, never leave the sight of a decision without doing something to commit you in the future to follow through. Because later on, you're going to be in a different state. And you're going to make a different decision in that different state because you're going to be in a different environment. But not if, after deciding, you took some kind of immediate action, which is going to guarantee you follow through in the future. And then the last component, the third one, is resolve. Decide, commit, resolve. And what is resolve? Resolve means it's already done. If it's done in here, then it's done in the world. Decide, commit, and then you're resolved. And the resolve means it's already done. And resolve gives you peace. There's no more anxiety. Sometimes we're deciding, we wrestle, should I, shouldn't, this. You wrestle, decision. Commit, you're taking an action right away, whether it's just putting a picture on a vision board, writing it down, repeating that dominating thought in your head. Decision, commitment, and then resolve. It's done is going to give you a sense of peace because you've put a line in the sand knowing going forward it's done and you're going to follow through. Resolve brings peace. Think of a decision that you wrestled with in the past, but you committed. You knew there was a certain date, a certain time that was approaching, that you knew something was going to have to occur or happen. And then when you made that line in the sand, in other words, you resolved yourself to the action you were going to take when that time in the future was coming. A sense of peace came over you. Think about it. And you relaxed. Anxiety was gone because it was done in here, so it was done in the world. I can think of my own decision, right? I got it in my head, in my creative imagination. I got it in my head that I wanted to work for a large metropolitan police agency. Here I was working for the Livingston County Sheriff's Department in upstate New York, 5 years, developed a great reputation, had a great career going, surrounded by friends, family, things and places I knew, but I got it in my head through books and movies, and all of a sudden, my thinking was the match to a bonfire of desire to go to a large metropolitan agency. I got that creative image in my future, and then I made a decision in my head. I'm going to work for a large metropolitan agency, and then I took immediate action. I sent for applications to Dallas Police Department, to the Houston Police Department, to the LA Police Department, the LA Sheriff's Department, the New York City Police Department. I got online. I signed up for the NYPD test. I got a date. I traveled with my mom and my aunt to New York City to take that test. I filled out those applications from the LAPD, the LA Sheriff's Department, the Houston Police Department. I had made a decision and I committed to a future image so that I would follow through. But I knew approaching was a time and a place unknown to me when I would get the letter. I would get the phone call. Are you ready to take the job? And then I resolved. Yes. Before the time and the date came, I resolved. Decision, commitment, resolved. Done. In here first, then in the world. And I got the call from the LA Sheriff's Department. You ready to go to work? Yes. 2 seconds. I said yes. I made the decisive statement, yes, because it was resolved. It was resolved ahead of time in my heart, so it would be in the world. I'm sure you can think back on a time when you wrestled with a decision, and in some way you took action on that decision. Whether it was research, a book, a vision board, got a picture, thought about it. You made a decision, but you immediately did something that was going to give you force of commitment in the future. And at some point, you can probably think when that was, you were resolved. It was done. It was already done even before the last decisive act takes place. Resolve. Isn't that a great word? Resolved. Unstoppable. Perseverance wins the day over talent. You got this. Tony Robbins talks about one of the rules of life that people get caught up in and they get very upset about. One of the things that's a given in life. Everything ends. Everything changes. But a great perspective with that is you get new beginnings. So sometimes we get sad. This ended. That's sad. But everything ends. Everything changes. Cycle of life also creates new beginnings. The call to adventure, the hero's journey. We're all on that hero's journey. We all have the call to adventure. What are you going to do about it? We know the hero's journey. You know the theater of your mind, that movie you're creating in your life. Just like don't you want to be interesting? You want to be answering a call to adventure. This is not a dress rehearsal. We get one shot at this. There's got to be a sense of urgency. It is the hero's journey. You know that movie you go to see where the hero is doing well. He's doing well in the middle. He's doing well at the end. It's boring. You walk out. You don't want to see it. We like to see the hero in his environment doing well. Then he's knocked down. What? He's knocked down bad. It looks like he's down and out. Oh, no, he's getting back up. Wait a minute. He's knocked down again. Oh, there's no way. He's back up again. And then we know how it ends. The hero wins. Roll credits. This is the movie of our life. Don't cast yourself as a supporting actor. You are the star. You're the casting director. You're the producer. You're the writer. Cast yourself as the star of your own life movie. Sit in the theater of your mind. See it in Dolby surround sound, full Technicolor. You got this. You're getting me excited. Stop it. We must be multifaceted in life. If you make quick decisions in every area of your life, you're going to be excelling and making decisions not only in business, in family, personal life, side hustle, ambitions, health, wealth, you name it, relationships, all the important things. Tony Robbins says that decision making is one of the top 5 skills in life. And you can learn and practice, and you can get better at being a decision maker. It's one of the top 5 skills that we can learn in life. The other 4 are, managing our state. We can get better and better at managing our state. We can get better and better at building relationships. These are skills that we can get better at. A capacity to create a future vision for ourselves. We can get better at our creative imagination. And we can get better at moving from managing our life to designing our life. Don't be a manager, be a creator. And deep down, you are already a creator. Get out of your way so that God can come to and through you and operate his purpose, not yours. You got this. I can't agree more. Tony Robbins says, Motivation is not enough. You need strategy. You need follow through. And what's deeper? What's deeper than motivation? It's behind what our inner drive is. What is driving us internally? There's push motivation, pull motivation. We need to be an expert at both, but let's be predominantly occupied with pull motivation. You want to create a compelling future image of yourself, a compelling future image that draws you, that pulls you in. You're not going to reluctantly jump out of bed. You're going to be excited when you jump out of bed, knowing where you're going. You have created in your imagination an exciting future that is so exciting that you are compelled to take action that you need to take today and tomorrow and the next day. You will not be stopped. You will persevere. You have got this. Become a great decision maker. All right, everybody, I'm so glad you joined me on this episode of the podcast. If you're listening on an Audible podcast platform, please leave me a review. Follow, like, share, whatever. But also, please head on over to my YouTube channel and check it out. Subscribe, like, share it with somebody who might need to hear these great ideas, like yourself. You might want to do it again and again and again. You already know the repetition is the mother of skill. All right, you champion. I'll see you in the next episode.